In some stories you may hear, and you may never be able to remember them as if they never happened to you. But on the other hand, there are stories that stay with you your whole life. Stories we see repeated around us in every time and every place. And from these stories, there is a story written by an Englishman named Eric Arthur Blair, the man who chose the name George Orwell so he could write the different stories he tells. The story we are telling today is one of the most impactful stories in the contemporary world. Its impact was so great that it became one of the most banned books in the world. It is Animal Farm. Once upon a time, on a night like any other, Mr. Jones was sitting on his farm drinking, but this particular night was completely different from any other night. When Mr. Jones returned to the farm that night, he kept on drinking to the point where he completely forgot to close the door of the barn on the farm before he walked away and went to his house. After Mr. Jones left, one of the pigs noticed that the barn door was open and decided to do something he had wanted to do for a long time. He decided to gather all the animals in the barn to tell them something very important, a strange dream he had, and he wanted to share it with all the animals. This pig was not just an ordinary pig, but he was the biggest pig on the farm, known as Old Major. Old Major was in the last days of his life, and it was a great opportunity for him to gather all the animals at the same time. A very big opportunity. The farm had all kinds of animals you can imagine, like pigs, horses, dogs, sheep, cows, pigeons, and various birds. Old Major managed to gather all the animals in one place, with the pigs at the forefront. The pig was in the last days of its life, and it was an opportunity for it to gather with all the animals at the same time, a very big opportunity. The farm had all kinds of animals that you can imagine, like pigs, horses, dogs, sheep, cows, pigeons, and various birds. The pig was able to gather all the animals in one place, and the pigs were the animals in the forefront, followed by horses, sheep, and cows. The pig began to talk about the strange dream that he had, but before he started with the dream, he said that the animals felt that he was going to die soon, and he had to deliver his message that he had acquired from his long life experience. Then he spoke passionately and said that there is no free animal in England. All the animals live in misery and poverty. Of course, our land is not poor, but humans take everything in our land. We are the ones who do everything, and humans are the cause of all the evils and problems in this farm. The pig then began to talk about the strange dream he had, and said that in the dream he was dreaming that humans disappeared from the farm. He thought of a song he used to hear when he was a little pig, and he started singing the song. The animals were very affected to the point that they became more ferocious. Before they reached the end of the song, the farm exploded completely with all the animals singing at the same time. Unfortunately, Mr. Jones, the owner of the farm, heard the loud noise and went to the farm immediately and fired a shot from his gun in the air, making the animals run in fear, and the farm became silent again. After about 3 days of his famous speech, the old pig died and left behind a group of pigs who continued the path that the pig had started and considered themselves capable of leading a revolution against humans. The 3 most influential pigs on the farm were Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer. Napoleon was a large and ferocious-looking pig, while Snowball was more lively, creative, and quick-witted. However, the animals did not respect him in the same way and did not consider him to be deep in personality. Squealer had a tremendous ability to speak and persuade, which was not present in anyone else on the farm. The pigs began to put the old pig's teachings into a comprehensive ideological system. They called this system animalism, and started holding numerous meetings with the animals to explain the new system. The system would be like their new constitution. However, some animals were too foolish to understand the new system and were willing to accept the humans' injustice. Despite Mr. Jones mistreating and starving the animals on the farm, the foolish group of animals had no problem with this. The pigs used the support of the horses, Boxer and Clover, who pulled the carts on the farm, to convince all the animals to support the revolution. Months passed until one night when Mr. Jones returned home to sleep and the animals had not eaten yet. They were in a state of great anger towards the animals on the farm, and this provoked one of the cows, and she broke into the storehouse containing food, and the animals went wild in a terrible way at that moment. The owner of the farm woke up and took 4 people with him to fight the animals. However, all the animals were very fierce, and they attacked Mr. Jones and the men with him. The animals managed to take complete control of the farm, driving out Mr. Jones. Finally, the animals succeeded in carrying out the revolution, destroying everything related to humans, Mr. Jones, and the people with him. They changed the farm's name from Manor Farm to Animal Farm, and the pigs took over the management of the farm. The pigs, Snowball and Napoleon, laid down some principles during the revolution, which they called the 7 Commandments. These commandments were written on the wall for all animals to see. The first commandment was that anything that walks on 2 legs is an enemy. Anything that walks on 4 legs or has wings is a friend. No animal should wear clothes, sleep in a bed, drink alcohol, or kill another animal. The 7th and final commandment was that all animals are equal. After the animals succeeded in the revolution and the pigs wrote the new constitution for Animal Farm, the owner of the farm, Mr. Jones, kept trying to find a way to return to the farm. He would check on the farm from a distance to see its condition and try to attack at the right time, but he lost all these battles. Although the pigs were able to take control of the farm and successfully resist the counter-evolutions led by Mr. Jones, problems began to arise between them. Over time, 2 factions emerged, one led by Napoleon and the other led by Snowball. Napoleon decided to take the pig squealer under his wing to control the media, which he used to influence the animals' thoughts. He was not only interested in the media, but also in the idea of power, wanting to have the strength to protect himself within the animal farm. To achieve this, he decided to take some small dogs and raise them to become his guards. On the other hand, Snowball was interested in educating the animals, teaching them to read and write, and had grand plans to develop the farm. His plan involved building a windmill to generate electricity, and after completing it, he decided to share the plan with the animals. Most of the animals reacted positively, except for Napoleon, who opposed the idea. The farm was divided into 2 teams, with the first team supporting Snowball and the second team supporting Napoleon. A vote was held, and Snowball was able to convince the animals to build the windmill. This made Napoleon very angry, and he decided to stage a coup against Snowball, using his dogs to chase him out of the farm. He accused Snowball of being a conspirator and a traitor. Napoleon used Squealer the pig to persuade the animals with his ideas and to convince the pigs that Snowball was a traitor. The funny thing is that he decided to do something very strange. He decided to build the windmill that he originally opposed with Snowball. In order to persuade the animals to build the windmill, he decided to spread a rumor that he was the original owner of the idea and that Snowball stole it from him. Over time, Napoleon gained complete control over the animals, treating them like slaves. He controlled most of the food and dairy on the farm, and he used the horses, led by Boxer, to transport and haul stones to build the windmill that would help them produce electricity. One stormy night, the buildings shook to their foundations, and one of the most terrifying scenes for the animals occurred when the windmill was completely destroyed. When Napoleon found the broken stones and the destroyed windmill, he blamed Snowball for sabotaging the windmill and destroying the work they had done for a whole year. Napoleon decided to execute Snowball and offer a huge medal to any animal that captured him. Days and months passed, and the pigs, led by Napoleon, gained more and more control over the farm. Despite this control, the animals suffered greatly as food became scarce on the farm. With the onset of winter in January, food on the farm became very scarce, and the animals suffered more than ever. One day, Squealer, the official spokesperson for the pigs and the official spokesperson for the farm animals, announced that the hens must surrender their eggs because Napoleon wanted to make an economic agreement with humans to improve the farm's economy by selling the eggs. However, when the hens heard this, they were in a state of extreme anger, and rebellion broke out among them. In order to regain control, Napoleon decided to accuse the hens of plotting a rebellion on the farm and being rebellious, sentencing them to death. He also ordered that no portion of the rations be given to the hens, and any animal helping the hens would face the death penalty. The hens that resisted and refused to give their eggs to Napoleon died of hunger after 5 days, while the rest of the hens who complied were killed and buried on the farm. Napoleon's actions were a violation of the animals' constitution, specifically one of the 7 commandments stating that no animal shall kill another. Napoleon's actions went against the agreed-upon commandments, allowing him to create reasons to execute and eliminate any animal he wanted. The days and months passed, and each commandment agreed upon by the animals in the constitution they made after overthrowing man was fulfilled. If you look at Napoleon, you will find that he collaborates with the enemy, trades with humans, and the pigs who were drinking alcohol were eliminated immediately. Squealer, the pig who represented the media on the farm, always tried to spread lies that would help polish Napoleon's image and justify his actions. Despite the animals not understanding the reasoning behind his actions, they continued to follow Napoleon's leadership. The famous slogan that the animals always heard was that Napoleon was always right. The pigs, led by Napoleon, continued to control everything on the farm and enslaved the animals to build the windmill. However, despite the animals' success in building the windmill, a major problem arose when Napoleon discovered that the humans had paid for the wood with counterfeit money. This led to a full-scale attack on the farm by the humans, but after a fierce battle, the animals managed to regain control of the farm, despite suffering significant losses. Between the animals and the killing of the sheep, a very large group of different animals were injured. After the battle, the windmill was completely destroyed, and Boxer, the horse, felt extremely frustrated, especially since he was one of the people who worked the most on the windmill. On the other hand, the pigs were very happy with this victory. Specifically, Squealer the pig said that we will not only build another mill, but we will build 6 more mills. He kept telling the animals that the important thing is that we won the battle and the losses that occurred do not matter. Napoleon's reaction was to gather all the animals and congratulate them on the victory in the battle, giving them 2 days off to celebrate. He named this day the Battle of the Windmill. The situation continued as it was, and the pigs continued to increase their control over everything on the farm. Not only were the pigs taking more food than the other animals, but Napoleon himself was only interested in teaching the pigs how to read and write, while the majority of the other animals did not know how to do so. Snowball, on the other hand, was very interested in teaching all the animals how to read and write and teaching them human language. However, Snowball is now considered a traitor and an agent, and any problem that occurs on the farm is blamed on him. The animals' dissatisfaction continued to increase day by day, and Boxer the horse, who was considered the hardest working animal on the farm, was one of the most affected. Despite the fatigue and pain he felt in his leg, Boxer never complained except to one horse, Clover. But with time and the excessive work that Boxer did as a boxer, he suffered a major injury that left him bleeding like a slaughtered pig. After realizing this, Clover told Boxer that he had to go to a veterinary hospital in another city outside the farm. Indeed, the next day a car came to take Boxer, but it was not an ambulance. Its purpose was to take Boxer to be slaughtered like other animals. Although the car was labeled as a butcher's car, some animals could not read, and others did not want to believe it. The pigs, led by Napoleon, claimed that Boxer had died in the hospital and that they did not have his body. Napoleon decided to make a big grave for Boxer and put a huge wreath on it. Simply put, Boxer the horse was disposed of in the worst possible way, and the animals were unable to do anything about it. Years passed after Boxer's death, and a new generation of animals was born. The farm had more horses besides Clover, but they did not even think about what had happened to Boxer. With time, the farm became more prosperous and organized, and many buildings were built next to the mill. However, they had become accustomed to living this way and no longer had any concern other than living day by day. Even if they lived in an age of pig tyranny, they were much better than humans who take all the farm's spoils and do nothing. One day, Clover the horse walked towards the wall with the 7 commandments written on it. But Clover was old, so Benjamin the donkey asked him what was written on the wall. Benjamin replied that there was nothing written on the wall except for one commandment, which was that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The other 6 commandments were removed, and every day the relationship between the pig and the human became stronger and stronger. One day, the animals heard some noises coming from the house next to the farm. They went to see the house where the noises were coming from and found a very strange scene. They found 6 farmers and 6 pigs sitting, talking, singing, and drinking alcohol together. Napoleon was sitting on the honor seat at the head of the table. But the very strange thing was that the pigs were dressed exactly like humans, and at the same time, the pigs had the ability to walk on 2 legs like humans. The animals were in a state of great astonishment. They were very confused and did not understand what was happening. Because of the resemblance between pigs and humans, the animals lost their ability to distinguish between them. If you looked at a human, you would think he was a pig, and if you looked at a pig, you would think he was a human.